What does it take to be ethically responsible as an environmental engineer? Today, we're going to be talking about some of the ethical strategies and guidelines that we have for making good decisions as engineers that benefit the health of society and the environment. If we're going to talk about ethics, we need to first understand what ethics are. Ethics are the way we, as people, respond to moral issues in a way that conveys integrity, fairness, and justice. Engineers must face specific challenges in the realm of ethics that result from their indirect and direct actions and how they impact the environment, people, and anything else, society, economics. All of these areas can be both directly and indirectly impacted by engineers like us. This leads us to the realm of engineering ethics. Now, it's helpful to remember that just because you don't think something's wrong doesn't mean it's ethical. Even if something looks wrong to somebody else, it may be deemed unethical.
The National Society of Professional Engineers and the American Society of Civil Engineers have published helpful documents detailing guidelines for engineers to act ethically. The NSPE sets forth 6 fundamental canons that outline the responsibilities engineers have to act as professionals. These canons state that engineers must hold paramount the safety, health, and welfare of the public, perform services only in areas of their competence, issue public statements only in an objective and truthful manner, act for each employer and client as faithful agents or trustees, avoid deceptive acts, and lastly, consider themselves honorably, responsibly, ethically, and lawfully so as to enhance the honor, reputation, and usefulness of the profession. Each of these canons are broken down further into rules of practice, which go into more detail about the obligations entailed in each of these canons. For example, a rule of practice within Canon 1 states that if an engineer's judgment is overruled under circumstances that endanger life or property, they shall notify their employer or client and such other authority as may be appropriate. This means that even when someone makes decisions that ignore or disregard concerns you have as to the safety of a project or process, you need to notify any relevant authority in the situation.
These rules of practice are further augmented by 9 professional obligations. These professional obligations help clarify the actions that must be taken or not taken to uphold the canons and rules of practice. You can check out all of these things on the NSPE Code of Ethics website that is also attached to this module. The ASCE breaks things down on a level that is more about stakeholders, who's involved in the project, who has a stake in the project. They're sorted in list of importance, with the most important being society in general. This means we need to take actions that look out for the well-being of humanity. After that is the natural and built environment. We need to make sure we're preserving the environment for future generations. After this is the engineering profession as a whole. We have to uphold the dignity of our profession and make sure people trust professors of civil engineering and those in industry. Next is clients and employers. You have to serve as a faithful employee to your clients and employers, both. And finally, we have your peers, other civil engineers in the profession, and even people outside of your profession that you work with. All of these people, you have to uphold their dignity and respect them as well. Anthropocentrism is the idea that all actions taken should be based on their value to humankind, and that any environmental efforts should be taken only when they can benefit humans. However, biocentrism focuses more on the whole of living beings. All animals, even trees, anything that's living have value and should be prioritized when making decisions about the environment. Meanwhile, ecocentrism extends the idea of biocentrism to the entirety of environment, both trees, animals, even rocks, everything, including water, which is a huge part of a necessity to all sorts of living beings. Technocentrism is the idea that technology is the key to moving forward and solving our problems in human health and environmental health. Sustainable development requires engineers to appropriately balance valuing both tech, humans, living things, and the environment in order to sustain all of them appropriately. So all of these ways are great resources for you to know how to make ethical decisions about being an environmental or civil engineer. But don't just look at the NSPE or ASCE guidelines and think that's all I need to do. Those are just the bare minimum. There are many resources out there for you to make wise decisions, including resources inside and outside of your organization or workplace. Authority figures, mentors, peers are all people you can talk to, as well as the ethics hotline is another place you can call in case you have any ethical emergencies that you need to discuss so you can make a wise decision. Now you're ready to go out and make wise decisions as a professional.